Here is a complete lighting breakdown for my most popular Nanami Kento cosplay selfie, which also happens to be the most complex lighting setup I've had to figure out to date. Today is actually the 1-year anniversary of releasing these photos, and it wasn't until I saw a 1-year anniversary pop up that I realized I never actually posted the breakdown. So I'm late, but it's here. And these shots are based off of fan art by Valley Maro, so if you're looking for more amazing Nanami fan art, go follow her. I started off using my 18 to 55mm lens because I felt like that was the closest compression-wise compared to the original art. This was a 5 light setup, which I usually hate doing because it's a lot of maneuvering and shuffling and a lot of effort. The first light I used was a Nanlite 30C, a 4-foot light tube, and I shined out against the wall at roughly a 45-degree angle. From there, I technically turned off all the lights in the room, that way I can build the look from scratch, but I'll keep them on, that way you can all follow along. The next light that I used was my Nanlite Pavo 215X, a 2-foot tube that was a mouthful, and I placed that tube behind my lower back, that way I can get that nice right-sided rim light. I placed a second 4-foot tube on the left side of my body, again at roughly a 45-degree angle, to give my entire left side a rim light as well. Now that my back was properly exposed, I busted out the trusty ring light to act as a key light for my body, and this worked out pretty well since I only need to focus on the upper half of my body. If you've been around a while, then you know that these ring lights have been around since 2024. They're the first 2 lights that I ever got, and they've been broken for about 3 years now, but I refuse to replace them because I can't find the perfect replacement. From here, I started to notice that there was a light seemingly shining up on Nanami's abs, and a year ago I was still getting used to my new lights and my new stands, and I didn't want to fidget with the stands, so I just pulled over a table and propped my light up on there. And I had that light on a pretty high intensity to make sure that it showed up. So a little bit of trivia, earlier in 2023 I kind of got out of shape, I stopped working out as much, and it was actually me anticipating the scene with Nanami and Haruta that helped motivate me to get back in shape. So this shot was not only like, hey look, I have abs and I work out kind of thing, it was also in my head canon and relating to that iconic scene. And the 6th and final light was another ring light, making sure that my blade was properly exposed since it was just outside the framing of all the other lights. Regarding the posing, I don't have a self-timer. I probably should, but I just have to use my camera self-timer, so every time I took a picture I would have to click the camera, walk back, click the camera, walk back. And pretty much every time that I had my jacket on my shoulders, it would fall off, so I would have to raise my arm quickly and time the 1 to 2 seconds that I had to keep this jacket on. And I realized it's impossible to get the perfect jacket flip as I'm walking back, posing, flexing, raising the blade, looking at the camera, so I settled and focused less on the flip and more on my arm positioning. The tie flip was not going to happen, there was way too much going on, so I cheated. I grabbed a fan, dragged it over, then I placed a box of masks on it for some extra height. I dragged over one of the light stands that I refused to use earlier, then I popped up my tie on both of those platforms to make it look like the tie was flipped. I think it took me about 80 takes to get a good picture. Lighting can be a very intimidating part of the process, so it was really validating to go from I have no idea how I'm going to do this to just piece by piece, trusting the process and having everything come together.